die. Mutembei went there, got a stroke, came out limping, was flown to London, but his life was completely undermined. Charles Obeah came out there, he nearly lost his throat. He had gone surgery in detention. I am the one who came out strong. So we moved on. Later on, we formed a pressure group called FORD, Forum for Restoration of Democracy in Kenya. Now we are now the Young Turks. Now we have been joined by the group I mentioned to you. And we fought as the Young Turks until eventually and we brought in the older generation. Jaramogi, Shikuku, Muliro, Mdenge, Bamaris, and so on. So we formed FORD, and FORD now fought until eventually they came now the Kamkunji 2, which we see pictures on the top of the trucks. That is not in Sabasaba. That was now 1991. But Sabasaba was that was October 1991. But Sabasaba was in July 1990. But by 1991, I had been whisked out of the country because they were looking for me again to pick me up for the 4th time. And I escaped town and ended up in Norway, in exile. I'm just giving you this story to give you a summary of how the struggle was. Then we now eventually managed to get them to allow multi-party. And we formed FORD. Of course, eventually FORD split because of ethnic politics, cheap ethnic politics. And we went into elections divided. We split the votes because we have 3 parties in the opposition. Moi slipped through. With 34% of the votes, he beat us. We got the 66%, but we lost. Then now we moved again and we fought in Parliament. We insisted that reform must be introduced because we were having multi-party under the old constitution. The structures were all very single party. One time we staged protests in Parliament on the budget day. When we was there, we stood up, all of us, and we were shouting, "No reforms, no budget. No reforms, no budget." The then Minister for Finance, Mr. Mutembei, could not read the budget properly. In the end, that is what led to was called the IPPG, interparliamentary group that came up with the minimum amendments to the Constitution. But then eventually it took a longer time until eventually we now came up with a new Constitution. This new Constitution, of course, I moved the motion in Parliament to set up a select committee to spearhead the process of Constitution review, which was passed, and I became the chairman of that committee, and we started the process of Constitution review, ending up with a new Constitution. I'm the one who appointed Yashpal Gai as the chairman of the Constitution Review Commission, and appointed all those commissioners. So then, when we were in boomers, Kenyans came from all parts of the country to discuss the Kenya we want. And views emerged at boomers people came from each and every district. There were 3 representatives. One must be an opposite gender. That's how we structured it. And we spent months at Bomas of Kenya and came up with what considered the will of the people of Kenya. Because first they started by more public education of the people of Kenya. What is a constitution? How does it affect you? How can you benefit from a good constitution? So there are these public forums which were held, chaired by Professor Guy and his team, across the country. It is one that actually opened up the eyes of the people of Kenya. That's why Kenyans are the most conscious people who understand what a constitution is about. Then, after that, then now we came up with the draft. But there are people who are opposing the structures that we are trying to introduce, particularly one, devolution. Devolution was opposed very seriously by the national government here. They don't want to let power go. But the devolution came about it when I was a shadow minister for local government. In those days, in Parliament, you were the minister and you were the shadow in the opposition. So the shadow minister of local government. In that capacity, I went around the world. I went to Britain and looked at how their local government was working. England is a